Ohio, tonight's WTRF high school football game of the week. It's the Division 5 state semifinals between the Monroe Central Seminoles and the St. Peter Chanel Firebirds. Good evening, everyone. Mike Anthony and the Bear, Tom Bechtel. And Tom, this is definitely the David and Goliath of the state of Ohio. But only over 100 teams started in Division 5 months ago in August. Only 4 remaining, and 1 are the Noles of Monroe Central.
Monroe Central has had an outstanding run. The last 3 weeks, their defense has just been unbelievable, and they'd like to perform like that again here this evening.
Yeah, they better against an undefeated team in the St. Pete Firebirds, and they have a Division I running back, Tony Franklin, who's gained nearly 2,700 yards, something like that. The numbers are mind-boggling, and the kick and run, the Noles defense will definitely be tested.
Obviously, he's outstanding. He's already signed with the University of Virginia. He'll play in that tough ACC conference, but the Firebirds have a lot of other weapons. They have 5 returning all-state performers from last year when they were the state runner-up. So last 3 years, they've been one of the premier programs in the state of Ohio.
Monroe Central has been well documented. Their defense has only given up 3 points the entire postseason. That's 3 games. And the coach of St. Pete Chanel knows that. He knows the defense is hot, but this will be a tough task stopping this offense of St. Pete Chanel, especially with the boys up front.
Yeah, the Firebirds score from anywhere on the field. So tonight the Seminoles will be challenged, but if they can perform as they have the past 3 weeks, who knows what can happen here this evening.
Should be a good one. The Noles are trying to play a giant killer here in Canton. It's St. Pete Chanel and Monroe Central. The Division 5 state semifinal coming up next exclusively on WTRF 7. We are back in Canton for the Division 5 state semifinal. Mike Anthony, Tom Bechtel ready to call the action of St. Pete Chanel and the Monroe Central Seminoles. And they love their Noles in Woodsfield as we await the arrival of Monroe Central, the Cinderella team, as you could call them, in Division 5. Of course, the highly touted Chanel Firebirds are undefeated under their first-year head coach, Bill Powers, who's had a lot of success taking over the helm.
Yeah, ironically, Bill is 1 year older than the number of years that Jay Sarkos coached. So we got a little contrast in coaching styles here. Bill Powers, in his first season, was an assistant coach at Brecksville for about 8 years, but he's a youngster at the age of 32. Of course, we all know Jay Sarkos. He's been at the helm of the Woodsfield and the Monroe teams for about 31 seasons. So interesting contrast here in coaching styles, Mike.
Yeah, and this is the breakthrough year for Coach Sarkos, who had never been past the second round of the Ohio playoffs. Now here, a game away from playing for the state championship here in Canton. And as they come out of the locker room, the Noles prepare to run through a sign. And the Monroe Central Seminole cheerleaders, of course, the state finals would be next week at Fawcett Stadium in Canton.
That'd be 3:30 Friday afternoon.
Pretty close to here, same place the Shadyside Tigers are playing tomorrow night. Both of our OVAC teams facing tough tasks. Only 6 unbeaten teams still in the state of Ohio, and the OVAC teams that we have left, Shadyside and Monroe Central, playing 2 of them. Well, you wouldn't want to win a state championship any other way. You got to beat the Dogs who were there last year. Of course, Amanda Clear Creek won it last year. They are already out as the Noles make their way onto the field. Of course, this St. Pete Chanel Firebird team lost in the state finals last year. We talked about Franklin coming off a huge season, had a terrible game in the finals last year, -1 yard rushing, and he came back this year and really tore it up.
Yeah, Coach Powers said he only had a few carries in that championship game, and of course, that was a game that Bedford Chanel led into the fourth quarter. They actually had a lead going into the fourth quarter, but that strong powerhouse from Amanda Clear Creek came away, put them away 21-10 in the championship game last year down at Massillon.
And Tony Franklin, we mentioned him. He wears number 22 for the Red of the Firebirds, playing on a heavy heart. His father had just passed away just before Thanksgiving. And a lot of the St. Pete fans had told us about that, and no doubt he'll be playing with an extra incentive tonight. His father just passed away, and now he's playing in probably the biggest game of his life, heading for the state championship game.
Yeah, his father was only 47 years of age. Mike played a little bit of college football at the University of Michigan, Glenn Franklin, and last week the son dedicated last week's game, and he had 322 yards, an all-time record performance. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs here this evening. Monroe Central will receive the opening kick here tonight at Kleinfelder Stadium. Kicking off for St. Pete Chanel is Trevor Nichols, the senior place kicker for Chanel, who you may only see a few times tonight. They alternate those kickers. It's Josh Ishii from the 10 for the Noles, and he is popped at the 21-yard line. Mike, that's a name we're going to be calling all evening long. Kyle Hogenboom. He's a returning All-Stater, 105 for the Firebirds.
You'll see a number of big boys on that red team. That's the St. Pete Chanel Firebirds. Monroe Central's offense sputtered last week against Smithville. Leading rusher Christopher Wilson, the fantastic junior, only 155 pounds. Limited to 50 yards last week. His rush for around 1,300 and change. Great junior year for Christopher Wilson. Speaking of juniors, Michael Joris, the 6'1" quarterback, to throw on first down. Looking out of the backfield for Wilson, and he slips. Pass a little behind him, incomplete. And if you notice the field, it's the synthetic turf. Looks like grass. Pretty matted down. I know Coach Bill Power is not happy with some of the places on the field where you can see some seams, but it's coming up after the season, and they're going to put a new one in.
Yeah, there were some problems with the installation of this surface, and the understanding is next May there'll be a new surface installed. But very soft surface, Mike. Very nice playing surface, and both teams should be happy with it here this evening.
2nd and 10 for the Noles. Joris going to throw on the second straight play. Pressured. Joris can step out of there, and Michael has some running room. Across the 30, it's a first down for Monroe Central, and Michael Joris running the football well for a big fella at 6'1", around 190. And that is very positive for Monroe Central. May have called first down a little quickly. It'll be close. They have to bring the chains all the way across the field.
And, Mike, this is what Monroe needs to do here this evening. They must control the football. They must keep it out of the hands of that potent Firebird offense. And real important in the early stage here to pick up these crucial first downs.
And Coach Acosta told us in the pregame they're going to have a tough time running the football on them, and they're going to have to throw the football. Got great weather for it, so it's not freezing cold and it's not raining or snowing.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a little change of pace here this evening for Monroe, and we see there the indication by the referee, the first down.
So the Noles move the ball on first down. They'll need plenty of those tonight against the Chanel Firebirds. And, you know, point blank, Jace Acosta told me on Sunday when we went out and interviewed him when he was looking at some of the tape of St. Pete Chanel. I mean, Franklin stands out right away, but their offensive and defensive lines are so big. And again, the Noles are outnumbered up front again. As Wilson tries to run it up inside, he is mauled by a handful of Firebirds at around the 30. Maybe he lost a yard.
Mike, talking about that front four for the Firebirds, Evan Shaw, the defensive end, checks in at 245 pounds. Zoranik, the outstanding All-Stater, is about 245. Robert Knighton, number 56, is 245 pounds. And the big fella, number 72, John Foster. We get a look at him right there. That's just a very imposing front line for the St. Peter Chanel.
Oh, and it gets better when the offense comes out. Show you some big fellas. Joris in the gun. Joris with time. Now looking right. Pass thrown a little too high for Brownie at midfield, and it's incomplete. Eric Brown, the intended receiver for Monroe Central. Of course, he's one of the heroes of last week's game. Brownie, only one of 3 Monroe Central seniors, had the big interception against Smithville that set up the game's only score.
Well, one of the keys coming into the season for Monroe, or one of the question marks, was the offensive line, and they've performed real well throughout the season, but tonight they're giving up about 80 to 90 pounds per man, so they'll certainly be challenged here this evening.
Eye set with the wing behind Joris. Now he's straight back. Flags fly. Now they do. After whistles, pre-snap. Referee want to make sure he had the right press box. Of course, these guys from all over the state. You don't even know these guys, do you, Tom?
No, Mike, I do not.
So procedure penalty on the Noles. In talking to Coach Acosta, they're not going to be in any hurry tonight. If they can keep the ball the entire game, they'll do that. So Joris going to stand in the shotgun now. 3rd down and 15. Joris looking. Got time. Now fires one out. Caught or dropped on the right sideline. Brownie, the intended receiver. Pretty good pass by Joris, but the Noles will have to punt. In the last 3 or 4 games from Monroe Central, the Noles have done a nice job of pinning the other team down deep in their own end, but barring a boomer from Gabe Gordon, Firebirds will get good field position.
Well, that's been the story of the playoffs for the Monroe Seminoles. It's been the ability to pin their opponents deep in their territory and actually control field position throughout the contest. this evening here. It appears the Firebirds are going to come out with real good field position after this first possession.
Brown almost made a great catch on that with one hand. Gordon's punt taken at the 40. Here is Jason Perry, the little senior, and he is tackled by the other Brown. That's Aaron Brown, the sophomore younger brother of Eric Brown. Jason Perry, 5'9", 155-pound senior. He's elusive. And now here come the big boys of St. Pete Chanel, and this will really tell you how the game will go tonight for sure.
Last week, the little fella Perry took a 91-yard punt return to open up the second quarter in their victory over North Lima South Range. So that little guy's certainly capable of taking it the distance.
There's Tony Franklin lining up at the tailback position. Kyle Moriarty, 5'9" senior quarterback, under center, and he tosses it to Franklin, who fumbles the football. Gets a great bounce. Wilson giving chase, can't get there, and Gordon wrestles him out of bounds. Did you see the speed? Wilson, probably one of the faster Noles, couldn't catch up to Tony Franklin, who had a great bounce, came right back up to him.
Well, Franklin, throughout the course of this season, obviously he's rushed for over 2,700 yards, so he's an outstanding running back. But last week he had 3 big touchdown runs of 57, 65, and 26. And who wouldn't like to run behind that huge line there, Mike?
Look at some of those boys walking up there. We'll get you their names momentarily. The one that sticks out the most is Jamel Lee, 6'3", 295, number 73. In the eye. The handoff to Franklin. Trying to find running room, does. Franklin hit hard and driven back by Wilson at around the 40. Got the first down, but he's pushed back by Wilson. Wilson, who Jay Circosta calls the toughest 155-pound junior all of the state, makes a nice play. And who is hurt for Monroe Central? Looks like Gordon. Look at the play again. Watch the surge.
Nothing fancy, Mike, when you have those big linemen. We see number 66. That's Alan Delady. He's one of their outstanding linemen. Checks in at about 280 pounds. So, from tackle to tackle, Mike, they're 270 plus. So it's going to be a real challenge. When you look at the Monroe roster, most of those fellows are in the 160 to 170 range. So they're giving up about $100 pounds per man. Excuse me, Michael.
Aaron Cease, the injured Nole, the man who you never want to see go down from Monroe Central defensively. He is their heart and soul at defensive end. Had 3 big sacks last week.
Well, Aaron's been the mainstay throughout the playoffs, done a great job. Of course, had those 2 big sacks to finish off the huge victory last week in that win over Smithville. But
and it looks like they're checking his stomach area. Maybe he get the wind knocked out of him. See if we can look at it again. You see Cease lining up top of your screen as defensive end. He is all over the field usually. Maybe hard to see here. Here he comes down. Oh, there he was getting underneath the play. Hard to tell. Oh, there he is, getting fallen on. And he runs off the field. That is good to see for Jay Circosta. That's the money man defensively. He'll have to come out. And it looks like Nate Schauber has replaced him. 55 at right defensive end. Back to throw is Moriarty down the right sideline for Perry. Did he get a step in? Caught the ball with the flag. Did he push off though? Was it offensive pass interference? It is offensive pass interference. Let's see if my man can find the right spot. It is a push off on Jason Perry, the quick senior, as we watch it again.
And Mike, now for the bad news. We talked about the outstanding running game, but in week number 2 of the playoffs against the Wellington Dukes, the Firebirds came up huge. Moriarty threw for 236 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's when the Wellington team elected to shut down the running game, and this youngster, Kyle Moriarty, certainly showed that he can throw the football.
Second down for the Firebirds. Still no score here in Canton. That's a good thing for Monroe Central. 10:07 to play, first quarter. As Moriarty brings it up under center. T. Terry, the fine-looking fullback in there with my man Franklin. And look at Franklin go. Franklin, on second down and forever, they run the football and nearly pick up the first down.
Running behind that line and that fullback Terry, they could score from just about anywhere on the field. Watch Terry, number 33. He seals up inside as Franklin goes left, and there's a huge block.
Well, I think Coach Power shows right there that he has a tremendous amount of confidence in his running game. When you can elect to, with second down in a real long situation, elect to run the football, sets up about a 3rd and 6, Mike.
Pat Walker, number 68, 6'5", 275 pounds, threw a great block on that play. 3rd down, 6 to go for Chanel. Franklin off of right tackle. Man taken down, and Franklin not yet has the 1st down inside the 20. Boy, it certainly looked like Kenny Robinson was held on the right end, but no flag. 1st down, Firebirds. You can see how this guy can take it to the house. And we've seen some great backs in our area, all of the Quincy Wilsons and some of the backs through the years, but this kid definitely has all the skills. The Cease is back in there for Monroe Central.
Well, coming in, we were told that Franklin's one of the premier running backs in the state of Ohio, and in the early going here, he's done nothing to disprove that, Mike.
So much for that 2nd and long. 1st down and 10, Firebirds at the 18. Moriarty sends a man in motion. Fake the handoff. Moriarty rolling, looking for T. Terry out of the backfield. Hits off his hands. Nearly picked off by Gordon. And it falls to the ground incomplete. But Gordon looked like he could have snagged that right out of the air. Look at it again.
We see Moriarty here. Nice roll out to the left, and does a good job of laying it out there, just a little too tall. And Monroe had pretty nice coverage on that play, Mike.
And 33 is T. Terry. We don't mean T-E-E as in T. Martin, the former Tennessee quarterback. This is T. Terry. His first name is the letter T. His middle name is Nathan, and his last name Terry. Initials are T-N-T. His father was a karate black belt and liked the name. So T is our man. This is Franklin. That's St. Pete's main man. He is strung out, and down he goes. He'll gain one if he's lucky, and the Noles string it out. Nate Schaber in there. Christopher Wilson, Sammy Miller, number 88, combined to make the stop. Also Gabe Gordon, number 44.
Well, if the Noles are going to have success here tonight, Mike, this play is going to be indicative of how they need to play. Great pursuit of the football here, and you're not going to tackle Franklin one-on-one, but with good pursuit, the Noles did a nice job on that play.
And Cease took on the block of Terry and did it nicely. I think Terry was hoping that he would cut that back up inside. So 3rd and 9. What big play from Monroe Central's defense here. Going to run it right with Franklin and cuts it back up the middle. Franklin jumping to the goal line. 1st down and goal, Firebirds. You see the elusiveness of Tony Franklin, 5'11", 185 pounds. He doesn't even look all that big.
Nothing fancy about this place, Mike. Just straight on drive blocking, but when you got the big fellas in front like Foster and Knighton and Zoranek, the play calling can be rather simple.
Well, here they come in with this full house look. Terry in there, and they also bring in another stud, number 45, Eddie Pritchard. And Franklin is into the end zone for a Firebirds touchdown. From 1 yard away, and St. Pete Chanel fires first. Tony Franklin told Virginia coach Al Groh he would come there in June, and he's had a great senior year. Moriarty is the holder. And the kick is blocked. T.J. Stevens, number 51, I think, got in there and blocked that. Well, that was the attempt from Chris Penny, the other place kicker.
Yeah, well, they have 2 place kickers, Chris Penny and Trevor Nichols. And on the season, Mike, they were 56 for 56 perfection.
Yeah,
so if there is one
something
positive this evening so far, the block kick.
T.J. Stevens comes in and breaks the string of the Firebirds. Perfect up until now on extra points.
We all know throughout the season Monroe struggled with their kicking game, Mike, and it's interesting to take on a strong opponent here that has not one but 2 outstanding kickers. They're 5 for 9 on the season from field goal. I think Penny's kicked a 33-yarder, Nichols kicked a 32-yarder, and like we said, up to that kick, they had been a perfect 56 for 56 on the season. So there's really not many missing links in this St. Peter Firebird lineup.
Bedford, Chanel, St. Pete on the Doane Ford scoreboard, 6-0. Unbelievable. Monroe Central can't buy an extra point all year, and they come out and block a team who hadn't missed one. And you'll see Trevor Nichols will kick it off here for St. Pete Chanel. And what did the coach tell you? Whoever's hotter at that practice and that week in practice gets the kick. Here comes Nichols on the run-up. Good-looking kick. Going to be taken by Josh Ishii at the 14. Fumbles, picks it up. Ishii trying to find some running room, and he's tackled by Jeff Jaggers, who was an all-state, was a state wrestling champion as a freshman, and is now just a sophomore. So we're looking at a potential 4-year state champion wrestler, Jaggers, taking on Ishii. Of course, Christopher Wilson, the fine running back for the Noles, is a wrestler in his own right, performed at the state tournament as well. And he lines up in the backfield with Gordon and Michael Joris, and the Noles pinned down deep in their own end again. This is Gordon on the toss sweep, and Jordan hit in the backfield by number 20, Kyle Hogenboom, the 6'2", 200-pound senior.
Hogenboom is probably the outstanding player on their defense, Mike. Works at that outside linebacking position. He's a returning all-stater, performed 3 years as a safety, and he's the leader in tackles for that Firebird defense.
So Monroe Central trailing for the first time in the entire playoffs. It's 6-0 in favor of St. Peter Chanel. And on 2nd down and 10, Joris going to go to the air. Michael Joris lofting one. He's got his man, Kenny Robinson, juggles and corrals it at the 43. Nice catch by the good-looking sophomore Robinson. First down, Monroe.
Well, Kenny's 6'4", 175, nice and rangy, and they expect him to be an outstanding athlete throughout his career, both here and on the hoop court, and Kenny comes up with a big catch there. Mike, that was real important. They need to establish some field position. We get a look at it here. Joris does a great job of delivering the football, and right in stride hits Kenny Robinson.
Robinson caught a big 3rd down conversion in the win over Smithville last week. That led to the one and only touchdown in that game. Monroe Central at the 43-yard line. Wishbone look, double fake. Now Joris in trouble, and down he goes at the 33. Making a big play for St. Peter Chanel, number 56, Robert Knighton, the 6'4 senior. You see how quick even the big guys are. Joris could not get out of there.
What a luxury, Mike, on a Division V level when you can line up and he's the little fellow on your defensive line. It's just incredible that
6'4", 245, Knighton right there, number 54.
And besides the outstanding size, Mike, it's obvious they have great speed too. So that front four is going to present a real challenge for the Seminoles.
Here's the wishbone look again. Joris straight back, setting up a middle screen to Christopher Wilson. Complete. Good blocking inside by Seifert. Be well short of the first down. So 3rd and about 15. Maybe 13 or so. So it'll be another 3rd down chance for the Noles to convert.
Well, obviously that's a pretty good play call when you're getting that heavy pressure from the line, but the Firebirds just have such outstanding team speed that, Collins, number 6 here, did a great job of running down the ball carrier.
Collins, 6'2", 190-pound senior. Trips receivers to the near side. And Joris looking. Pressured by Knighton. And now pressured again. Gets out of there. Joris going to run the fumbled the football. Picked up St. Pete. Schauber and Shoemaker make the stop, but it's fumbled, and the Noles turn it over. And they gave the Firebirds a short field again. Home crowd coming to their feet. Watch Joris elude Knighton. And the big man, number 72, poked it away. John Foster, 300-pound junior, 6'3", getting his right arm around Joris, causing the fumble. Firebirds in business. This is Franklin up the middle. Franklin bouncing it outside. Look out, Franklin. Flag coming down. This touchdown will come back. Well, maybe he was pushed out at the 1. Going to be a hold, and I think it's going to be on your man Perry. Perry was blocking on that left side, and the flag was thrown right at him.
We see the indication there by the referee. Indeed, a hold, Mike. Last week, Franklin had 3 touchdowns, but he also had 1 called back on an 11-yard jaunt. So
watch it again behind T. Terry.
Once again, Mike, nothing
Right here,
fancy about that play, but yeah, we get a look at it there.
Wasn't much.
Nothing fancy about that play. When you see big number 73, Jamal Lee, 6'3", 295, opens up that huge hole, and Franklin just needs a crack, and he can go the distance.
Well, when the Noles only have one player over 200 pounds on defense, you're looking at a major mismatch here, folks. But believe me, these Monroe Central kids will take in there. They'll stand there and take some shots, that's for sure. Especially the lower guys like Brown and Yoho you see there defensively in the backfield. Now, first down and 1. Not often you say that. Moriarty, quick toss. Franklin going to throw a halfback pass. Got a man wide open. And it is caught for a touchdown. Jason Perry. Man just guilty of the hold. And it's a 33-yard touchdown pass from Franklin. The guy can do everything. The halfback pass. They didn't say he could throw touchdowns, too.
Well, Mike, we've only watched him for about 7.5 minutes here, but it's really hard to believe that this is a Division V football team. We get a look at it here. Franklin, outstanding athlete. We could see the pass. He kind of tipped it off, but when you have a receiver like Perry and he's wide open, and Josh Ishii certainly made an attempt, but just a little too late.
And you stack it up on them, and that's what they'll do to you. They're going for 2. Up 12-0. Fake handoff to Franklin. Moriarty's got some running room, and Moriarty gets to the end zone for the 2. Great effort by Gordon and Cease. And Moriarty showed some toughness, and Gordon buried him over there.
Gabe Gordon did a great job on this play. The old naked reverse by the quarterback, and Gordon came out of nowhere, but Moriarty slides into the end zone for the 2-point conversion.
Great fake. I think at least 20 guys were going right on that play. And you see the athleticism of Moriarty. Watch this. Watch how many shirts were fooled.
Obviously,
1 on 2 right here.
Obviously, anytime you fake that ball to Franklin, you have to honor that fake, and he's a threat to go all the way. And on this play, Moriarty certainly had an opening, and great job by Gordon, but just a little bit too late.
Well, Coach Acosta was hoping to get out of the first quarter fairly close on the Doneford scoreboard. 14-0 St. Pete. Look at it again. Here's the touchdown.
Well, Moriarty, he's a threat to throwing it, but little did we know, here's Tony Franklin, and does a pretty nice job of laying that football out there, but Mike, I think you could have hit that pass. Perry was wide open.
The Noles were so disciplined in that defensive backfield last week because Smithville really wasn't a threat to throw the ball, and they ran dive continuously. But when they did try to hit him with a pass, the Noles were there. They were pretty disciplined all night. That play, Brownie was definitely sucked up in, and yeah, when they pitched the ball to Franklin, you may want to try to help out.
Well, I think Cal Kaufman obviously was an outstanding running back for Smithville, but I don't think the Noles have seen anybody the likes of Mr. Franklin.
No. Nichols on the run-up. Try Ishii again from the 11. Josh Ishii, near side. Josh Ishii jumping over a tackler. Makes the kicker miss, and Ishii gets it out across the 45-yard line. So a bright spot for the Noles as they are heading towards St. Peter Chanel territory.
But that's a great return by the young sophomore, and the Noles just need to, most importantly, use up some of that clock and get back in the positive side in terms of field position, Mike.
And a good job by Ishii to use the short side of the field. He's not going to outrun these guys to the far side, so he took what was given to him on the kick. First down, Monroe Central. St. Pete rushing 4. Joris, plenty of time. Zips it a little too high for Ishii, the intended receiver. And Michael has a tendency to throw some balls high.
Well, and quite honestly, Ishii wasn't open. Number 9 did a great job of blanket coverage there, and that was Anton Beasley.
Anton Beasley, your man. 6'3", 205-pound sophomore. Going against Monroe Central sophomore, the animal in Josh Ishii, 5'7", 145 pounds. Second down and 10. Eye set with Wilson and Gordon. Joris going to throw again. Joris passing. Ball thrown incomplete. Perry defending on the play. And, you know, Monroe Central all year tried to become a passing team. You know, Jay thought coming into the year they were going to have to throw the ball to beat some teams. Christopher Wilson played so well, they became the old Monroe Central pretty quickly when he had his 1,300-yard season. But tonight, it's going to be a tough time running against these guys.
Yeah, they've only thrown the football a little over 100 times this season, Mike, so that's averages out somewhere about 10 pass attempts a game, and obviously tonight they're probably already over that figure.
We're looking at a Kurt Warner performance here. Here's Joris looking right. Joris finding Brownie on the right side, but it's incomplete. And there's a flag on the play. I think it's going to be on Bedford St. Peter Chanel. Somebody roughed the passer. Noles were clapping. Personal foul. Personal foul, Chanel. And the Noles have cracked St. Peter Chanel territory.
Most importantly, they're going to pick up a first down on that third down situation, Mike.
And still 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Compared to last week's first half was quick. The Noles would love another one like that tonight.
Well, we talked about the need to shorten the game, but Mike, when you're passing on every down or nearly every down, it's real tough to get any time off that clock. And obviously, Chanel's had 2 drives already, and we still have 4 minutes remaining in this first period. So, you know, Monroe simply needs to move the football down the field.
Gabe Gordon and Christopher Wilson in the backfield. Joris going to roll right. Joris looking for his man out of the backfield. Misfire for Wilson, and Hogenboom almost picked it off. Hitting him right in the chest.
Well, this youngster right here, Kyle Hogenboom, as we talked to, he's a returning All-Stater and being heavily looked at by the MAC schools, Mike. They said it's even possibly a long shot. Something like Penn State might be in the picture, but probably a MAC recruit, and he's going to play some football on the next level.
That one floated on Michael. They like to throw to Wilson out of the backfield. With Adam Conrad, their best receiver, out with a hamstring injury. You got to look for Wilson more. Gabe Gordon pounding it up inside. Got a couple of yards on the interior of that defense. As T.J. Stevens and Gordon, he needs 2 guys to help him up. Number 72, John Foster, the 300-pound junior. Of course, T.J. Stevens had a great junior season for Monroe Central. Number 51, 196-pound junior, going against a 300-pounder. Number 70, Randall Seifert, the only 200-pounder on this Noles team. Second biggest kid on the team is Joris, the quarterback. Third down, 8. High snap for Joris. Michael looking for it all down the middle. Picked off. Snagged out of the air by Jeff Jaggers. Jaggers has a convoy, and Jaggers still on his feet. And Gordon takes him down. My goodness. And there's an injured Seminole way down at the other end of the field. One of the Noles is holding his knee at the other end of the field. Is it Robinson? I give Jay credit taking a shot here.
Mike, we get a look here, though. Joris elects to throw into actually double coverage, and Jaggers, the young sophomore that you've talked about already, only 5'7", 135, but does a nice job of returning that interception.
And Jay have to check on his man, and I think it is Robinson. He was the intended receiver. Robinson, the 6'4" sophomore, who's really played well. And a hush falls over Central Catholic Crusaders Stadium here at the Lowell Kleinfelder Stadium.
Mike, while we have a break in the action, I'd like to say hello to Ken Robinson, not to be confused with Kenny, but Ken Robinson, who had 3 sons, Dustin, Paul, and Dina, who all played at both Woodsfield and Monroe Central. He's in the hospital at Wheeling Hospital. I know he'll be watching this replay, and unfortunately he's had some problems with his heart, and he wasn't able to make it up here tonight to Canton, but we know he's interested in the Seminoles, and we say get well soon to Ken.
Yeah, that's Robison, R-I-B-I-S-O-N, no N, and of course his youngest son was a great performer, Dustin, a couple of years ago for Monroe Central. As Kenny Robinson is being helped off the field. Not good to see him not putting pressure on the right leg. As Dan Mayers has made an appearance here in Canton. So with 3 minutes to play in the first quarter, boy, the Noles definitely have to keep Chanel out of the end zone here.
Once again,
for moral purposes as well.
Once again, though, they provided the Firebirds with a short field to work with, Mike.
Yep. Franklin has already thrown one and run for one in the backfield. He'll get another chance to run one. Stood up at the 35. Good play by Randall Seifert. Had a huge game against the Smithies last week. Some 17, 18 tackles, and makes another good one there on this fine running back.
Well, number 70, Randall Seifert, has been one of the mainstays of the Seminole defense all season long. And, you know, this group has just come up huge all season long. Of course, they pitched the 4 shutouts, and on the regular season only gave up an average of 6 points a game, Mike. In the playoffs, they've lowered that somewhat. They're giving up, going into this evening, only 1 point a game. But obviously that's been dented here somewhat here in the first quarter.
And in jeopardy of being blown out of the water. Franklin reversed. Perry. Nice job by Cease to play off the blocker. Moriarty had no chance against Cease, who was apparently okay, and came back in and made a nice stop of that reverse.
Well, Aaron, he gives you that Jimmy Brown look once in a while. Doesn't Mike? It looks like he has injury or he's down, but he always bounces back, and he's been a prime-time performer all season long for Coach Sarcosta, and does a great job there of fighting off the block and making the tackle.
Guess you really can't ask your quarterback to block too much against a great defensive end like Cease. Perry was stopped for a short gain. 3rd and 7. Now Perry coming in motion. And Moriarty fake it. Pressured. Moriarty gets out of there. Running to the sideline. Pushed out of bounds. Short of the first down. Seifert, the big man, running over to push him out of bounds. All 220 pounds of Randall Seifert.
Well,
and that's with the big Thanksgiving dinner in him.
The Firebirds certainly give you a lot of different looks here, Mike, and they present a lot of challenges to a defensive coordinator, and Moriarty shows a little ability to run the football there.
Well, we saw him run the 2-point conversion in. 4th down and 7. Firebirds going to go for it. And if I had Franklin, I'd probably go for it every time as well. 2 receivers split, trying to stretch the Noles defense. Franklin on a straight dive on 4th and 7, and he gets the first down. It's actually around 4th and 5 or 6, but they run straight up the middle for a first down. Firebirds. And it's not often we get to see talent like this, Tom, but it's fun to watch him.
Well, Mike, I think this says something about Coach Pyers and his staff. You know, they have so much confidence in his youngster that, as you said, on a 4th and 6 situation or 4th and 7, that you just elect a simple dive play, and, you know, Franklin picks
Smithfield
it
did
up.
that on 4th down, but it wasn't quite as quick. Ticking close to a minute to play first quarter. Moriarty under center. Got T. Terry at fullback, and they give him the rare handoff, and Seifert stacks him up. TNT hit by Seifert at the 22 and going nowhere.
Of course, T. Terry and Evan Shaw will alternate at that fullback position, and Terry's one of the smaller Firebirds. He checks in at 205 pounds, so...
Greg Lowe, 6'2" junior, number 27, coming into the game. Come the Firebirds on 2nd down and 8. Maybe the last play of the first quarter. The Noles wouldn't mind it at all. Trips receivers to the right side. Franklin in the slot, and flags fly. Too much time to put Franklin in the slot. Boy, he's fun to cover out there. Noles had Wilson stretched over there. 15 seconds now. First quarter.
I doubt that'll do much to change their play calling, Mike.
I'm sure they're going to have trips again to that side. Nope, they changed it. Nope, there he goes. Franklin going back over into the slot. 2nd and 13. Pressure from Miller. Here's a pass that's thrown in between two Noles. Ill-advised pass by Moriarty, but it falls harmlessly incomplete. Pressure that time by Danny Miller, the fine-looking sophomore defensive end. Watch Miller sneak in here on the bottom.
Yeah, number 85 here, Danny sneaks in and does a great job of putting heavy pressure on Moriarty, and he simply threw the ball for grabs.
Well, Noles would have given themselves a huge break by picking that one off. 14-0 with 10 seconds to play in the first quarter. Franklin lines up as the tailback. 3 receivers in the pattern for Moriarty and the Firebirds. Going to throw. Moriarty looking to the end zone. Looking for Perry. Got it again. Pushed off. Touchdown. St. Pete Chanel. Almost the same identical player they flagged him for earlier. I guess that time for a touchdown. 27 yards. Well, that's 2 touchdown passes now.
Well, Moriarty certainly has a capable throwing arm, and when you have a receiver like Jason Perry out there, it makes it look pretty easy, Mike.
The Firebirds score 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, and this is what the Noles were afraid of. Now Moriarty will hold for Nickel. Nichols, high snap. Boy, 56 for 56 is quickly turning to 56 for, look at this, 58. Batted down by Ishii. Oh, Noles have done something right. They've broken that streak.
Well, Mike, I think the fans at home realize by now that this is a Division
disguised.
team, in disguise only, because this year, in their and we're getting our look at here, Mike, we found a weakness in their game. It's the extra points.
Let's have them kick extra points all night. Still almost got it.
Unfortunately, they may be kicking extra points all night, Mike.
4 seconds to play in the first quarter.
But this season,
but look at the nice crowd who came up from Woodsfield. Great crowd here.
Great turnout from Monroe, and outstanding facility here, Mike. We can't say enough about. Once at the semifinal level, most of the games are played on turf, and certainly a great opportunity for these youngsters to play just in an outstanding stadium. Canton Central Catholic has certainly thrown out the red carpet here, and it's just a beautiful facility and great
Let's look at the touchdown one more time for Moriarty. Goes 27 yards. It's really not fair when you have Franklin in the backfield to do stuff like that. Touchdown pass to Jason Perry. 20-0 in the first quarter.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious, Mike. You really have to key on Franklin, and really it's going to take an 11-man effort to stop him. And with the other weapons that Coach Pirate has for these Firebirds, I'm sure the other defensive coordinators that were viewing this film are really going to be
try Josh Ishii one more time from the 15. Trying the short side of the field again, and he's tackled by 4 Firebirds. And that'll wrap up the first quarter of play here at Kleinfelter Stadium in Canton, Ohio. It's been all red and black of St. Peter Chanel. And at the end of one, on the Doane Ford scoreboard, it's St. Peter Chanel 20 and Monroe Central nothing, just after the holidays here in Canton. We're back after this. Hey, welcome back to Canton. Mike Anthony and Tom Bechtel. It's Division 5 state semifinal, and a lot of you may be thinking that, this is a Division 5 school in St. Peter Chanel. They don't play a schedule like that, it's for sure.
This is actually their 4th game this season where they will actually play a Division 5 team, Mike. During the regular season, they met only one Division 5 opponent.
1st and 10 for the Noles starting the second quarter, and Wilson catches the pass out of the backfield for Monroe Central.
Mike, a couple of their defeated opponents were Avon Lake, who just was eliminated in the 3rd round of the Division II playoffs last week, had a fine 9-1 record. Their only loss in the regular season being to Chanel. Menor Lake Catholic is playing in the state semifinals of Division III, and Chanel beat them 28-21. So they've certainly, during the regular season, are not a Division V team.
And one of the highest computer rankings of every school in Ohio. Brown in motion. I think the Firebirds were guilty of being in the neutral zone. Their computer ranking was pretty outstanding.
Yeah, I think they were like 30.75, and there was only one team in Division II or lower, that being Ironton, that actually had a higher rating. So they would have qualified just in about any class, and it's pretty obvious here this evening in the first quarter that, with 5 returning All-Staters, and they come up a little bit short last year in a championship game, but this is their 3rd consecutive appearance in a state semifinal action. So it's obvious Bedford Chanel has probably been
out of Cuyahoga County up near Cleveland in the North Coast League. Here's Joris turning and handing off. Christopher Wilson. And you saw Wilson have some running room. That play may have gone a lot longer in an OVAC game, but with this defense, size and speed, Evan Shaw, 6'2", 245-pounder, made the play.
Of course, Mike, you talked about that North Coast League. That's a league of 8 Catholic schools up on Lake Erie on the north side of Cleveland, and Menor Lake Catholic, Parma Holy Name, Padua Franciscan, and Elyria Catholic, and on and on. Those teams all play in that league, and as we said, most of those schools are bigger than Chanel. But
a little quick toss to Adam Conrad, who gets it into the Firebirds territory for the 2nd time tonight. He's the good junior receiver for Monroe Central, who has had a hamstring injury, told me tonight that he's going to give it a go. He's out there as a gamer.
Of course, Adam missed 8 games throughout the season, and he's still not 100%, but let's give some credit to this youngster. He wanted to be out on that field tonight, and nice to see him come up with a big catch.
And Perry upset with himself. He saw that little stop route and thought he could jump the route, and he didn't get there in time. This little Jason Perry, buddy, 155-pound senior. Good little football player to have. Now the Noles going to toss it now to Wilson, running left. Wilson stopped in the backfield by Hogenboom, number 20. Boy, you better get up in a little bit quicker, Christopher. These guys are coming after you, buddy.
Well, Chanel just possesses great team speed. Not good team speed, Mike, great team speed. And we see here, Wilson's been a great ball carrier all season long, but that certainly was a sure-handed tackle by Mr. Hogenboom.
2nd down, 10. Under 10 to play in the 2nd quarter. 20-0. The Noles trailing. Joris going to pass again. Look to ice him down at halftime. It's got to be at least 15 passes. Complete to Christopher Wilson. Short of the 1st down.
Well, Mike, I know you've had a lot of chances to see the Seminoles in action this year. Have they gone from this shotgun formation very often?
A few times, not as their bread and butter, but they have. They like to run some quarterback draws off of that as well. Not so sure how many yards that the Joris will be gaining tonight. I venture to say if the Noles can get over 50 yards rushing, that'll be a mental victory in this one tonight. One of the Firebirds jumps, digging into the neutral zone. Hard to miss them when they jump off sides. Pat Walker, 6'5", 275 on the right end. He jumped, and when he jumps, the whole building shakes. We talked about how powerful Chanel has been recently, but that wasn't the case a while back.
No, I understand. Before this great 3-year run where they've been in the semifinals, they actually had a streak of 0-48 over a period. So it's just in the recent vintage that they've become a football powerhouse. But
Joris's pass caught. Going to be called a fumble. Thought it was incomplete. It's going to be ruled a fumble. And Hogenboom has the football. Boy, not so sure how long that Sammy Miller had that football. It's going to be ruled a complete pass and a fumble. Wow.
Hopefully we'll get another look at that from the truck, Mike, but didn't appear on first look that possession was gained on that play.
And I don't think these officials have any compassion whatsoever. Close.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, Mike, but
T. Terry made a nice play to break that up.
You know me, Mike. I'm always kind to those officials, and I've never seen him miss a call.
Here's Jason Acosta with 323 wins. Bill Powers, 13 wins. With teams like this, though, he'll be catching Jay pretty soon. There's a pitch to Franklin. Franklin gaining at least 9 yards on 1st down.
course, I think his season average is a little over 10 yards a carry, Mike. So
other than that, he's not very good. And we were talking to Bill Powers before the game. He seemed really nervous, didn't he?
yeah, he seemed extremely nervous, Mike. You know.
He even brought up his old Coastal Carolina days where he played college baseball.
Well, I know you like that because he was a former college baseball player, of course.
And, of course, he has the superstitious hat on tonight that looks like to get up and walk by itself. 2nd down and 1. Under 8 to play now in the half. Here's Franklin. Cease wrapping him up just inside the 35. 1st down, Firebirds.
We get a good look there. A couple of the mainstays of that Seminole defense, Cease and Wilson, they've just come up huge all playoff long and, of course, all season long.
You know, these last 3 playoff games have been really fun to watch and to do on television for Monroe Central. To see him play Licking Heights and then Crooksville and then Smithville was a great experience for me. And to watch a defense and a team just win games like they did, it was pretty fun. And to see a guy like Jay Sircosta do it was even better. Here's Franklin running left. Franklin smashing it up in there. Nate Schaber, number 55, has had a great year in the interior as well. Made a nice stop there, but the Noles definitely outclassed tonight for sure, and it's still early. Watch this play come left.
Once again, Mike, nothing fancy about this Firebird offense, but, you know, when you got the big guys like that can lead the blocking, when you could pull a guard like Robert Knighton, you know, the big 6'4", 245-pound senior, and most of these Chanel players are seniors, Mike, so they're a veteran-laden ball club, and, you know, they've been pointing for 3 years towards this state championship, and, you know, it's going to take a real strong team to deny the Firebirds.
And Moriarty on a keeper. Moriarty keeps it for a 1st down at the 20-yard line. Of course, the Noles only have 3 seniors. So folks in Woodsfield are hoping for big things next year. Here's the play going right. Danny Miller and his twin brother Sam combining to help bring Moriarty down.
One nice thing, Mike, whenever you have someone like Tony Franklin in the backfield, there's a whole lot of plays in that playbook that are going to work, and, you know, Moriarty's not the fleetest of foot, but when you're keying on Franklin, it certainly opens up some avenues.
And now they have 2 blockers in there for Franklin. Behind that huge line that averages nearly 300 pounds. Here's a pass skipping towards Jason Perry. So how about that? They put 2 fullbacks in there with a Division I All-State tailback, or going to Division I school, and they throw a hitch. Pretty good play calling. If that doesn't look like run coming up the line, I don't think anything does. Look at Perry, the little guy in amongst those big guys. And the Noles are standing in there taking some shots. 6 minutes to play in the half. It's 20-0, St. Peter Chanel. Same formation. This time they give it to Franklin. Pretty good move. Franklin running behind his blockers. Franklin, great run. Did he get in? Touchdown! Wow, what a second effort from 20 yards away. Tony Franklin. The Virginia Cavalier goes in from 20 yards out. And it's 26-0.
Once again, just straight on blocking. Franklin was not to be denied. Josh Ishii, Eric Brown, both of them were giving up about 40 or 45 pounds to the ball carrier, Franklin, and he finds the end zone.
This kid is everything as advertised. Had a huge run in last week's game, 90-something yards, right?
He's had big plays throughout the season, Mike, and last week he had 57, 65, and 26-yard runs. It was the previous week we were going to talk about, Mike. They scored on the first play of the second quarter in both of their previous playoff games. One was a 95-yard run-off tackle by Mr. Franklin, and last week Perry took a punt back 91 yards. So they certainly know how to find the end zone from quite a distance.
The Doane Ford scoreboard getting quite a workout tonight. Bedford, St. Peter Chanel leading 26-0 over Monroe Central. Boy, Bill Powers walks into the job is pretty nice, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think, you know, Bill, ironically, I think was offered another job shortly after taking Chanel, but anytime,
Rexville, right?
Yes, anytime you can get the number and quality of players that St. Peter Chanel has. And it's a great situation. Bill Powers has taught at Chanel for about 8 years, and they were looking for a coach, and great situation. He can now teach and coach at St. Peter Chanel, and young fella, Mike, 32 years of age, and obviously it isn't going to get much better than this throughout his coaching career.
Now they have Franklin lined up going for two. Moriarty, a little fade route to Perry. Juggernaut. Oh, the referee with an early signal. Then going to get him for face guarding. Gordon defending on the play. We had a half a touchdown and then a flag. Broken up by Gordon.
We'll wait for the indication here, Mike.
I guess it's tough. Pass interference on the defense.
Of course, the markup will be half the distance to the goal line and a retry.
We'll watch Robinson defending on the play.
We'll take a look at it here. Marty lobs it up, and
no compassion on the part of the Zebras tonight. My goodness. Going for two again. A little closer for Franklin, as if he needs it. He's in for the two-point conversion. Well, he's thrown a pass, running a two-point conversion, and I think he's got a 15-yard taunting penalty as well.
Yeah, I think we had a little extracurricular. We'll see it here after the play, I think, Mike, but Franklin led by a bevy of blockers there.
Look at T. Terry, and then I think into the end zone, a little extracurricular. Touchdown.
Terry and
personal foul. Oh, boy. Well, personal fouls on both teams.
No, I think the indication was personal foul against St. Peter Chanel.
Here, watch him get in the end zone, right? Right there, and he taunts Wilson.
I think there was some verbal taunting done after the points were scored, Mike.
Yep. So it's 28-0, folks. 6 minutes to play in the half. Doan Ford scoreboard getting quite a workout tonight. 28-0. We'll step aside for a quick break. You're watching exclusive state semifinal action on WTRF7. Welcome back. Dr. Jay Circosta pacing the Monroe Central sidelines. Number 324 will be quite a comeback if the Noles are to win this one.
I think
you're laughing over here. 28-0 in favor of St. Peter Chanel. There's Jay. 28-0 here as the Firebirds will kick it off. I mean, they've had so much trouble with their point afters, they just keep going for two. Here's a short kick after the taunting penalty taken by Christopher Wilson. Wilson spinning, getting across the 45-yard line. And the Noles will take over there and try to at least get one on the board before half.
Yeah, at the very least, Mike, they need to control the football, and you need to keep it out of the hands of that very potent Firebird offense.
I mentioned goals. 50 yards rushing would be a great goal to try to attain. A touchdown may be tough to come by, but if the Noles can get one, I think that would be good. Now they split Conrad near side, and Joris in the shotgun, like he's been a lot of the first half tonight. Here come the Firebirds. Little swing out of the backfield to Eric Brown, complete, gain of 4. Look at T. Terry on the coverage, big number 33.
Of course, Eric Brown was one of the heroes in last week's game with that big 57-yard interception return that set up the winning score against Smithville. So Woodsfield and Monroe County fans will remember this youngster for many, many years to come.
Well, his brother will be there for 2 more years, so that brown jersey will be worn proudly at Monroe Central. Of course, we'll see all of these guys back in there except for Cease, and Brownie, and Randall Seifert. Little inside counter action. And now the officials stop the play. Some early whistles as Wilson has stood up into St. Pete territory for the 3rd time tonight. we had looked at the roster and the teams before the game, Bear, walking the field, and we noticed some big boys who don't even play for St. Peter Chanel. So if you're thinking the Firebirds may empty their bench, that may not be a good thing.
Yeah, they actually have some 280s, 290s, and 275s that they're juniors and sophomores sitting on the bench. So rather large roster too, Mike. They have about 65 on their roster.
On 3rd and 1, Joris having a tough time getting the one. Trying to get the first down. Boy, just tough to run in there against big number 72, John Foster. 6'3", 300-pound tackle. Number 72. He is a horse. And Hogan Boom you got to contend with, and T. Terry. There's Mike Joris. And then Seminoles are going to punt here.
Probably a wise decision.
On 4th and less than a yard, Joris comes out of the game. See if they can't get him to jump offside. You don't think Chanel would fall for that, would they? Smithville did last week. Gabe Gordon in punt formation. Low snap, but he handles it. Gordon's kick, a low shooter. Going to bounce inside the 10, and Terry's going to... Did he touch it? Seifert, and then drilled his... Wow. Dan Miller has laid it on the return man, Perry. Well, there it is. They pinned him down deep in their own end. Unfortunately, they're down 4 touchdowns. This is what happened in the last 4 games for Monroe Central. Getting their opponent into a field position game. Although, with 3:22 to play here in the second quarter, plenty of time for this Firebirds team to catch fire. They may only need 1 play.
Take a look at
Let's
here,
see if
Mike.
he touched it.
Some of the Monroe fans got a little excited, but you can see there.
Oh, good stuff. So, back to live action. Keep an eye on our man, Franklin. Only did a nice job on him. Only got about 6 yards on first down. And remember, this second quarter has been kind to the Firebirds the last couple of weeks, especially inside their own 10.
Yeah, they've certainly been a big play team all season long, but in particular in the last couple weeks of the playoffs, they've shown the ability to strike from 90 yards plus, so plenty of time remaining on that scoreboard clock.
The closest team to defeat this St. Peter Chanel team came within 7, and that was Mentor Lake Catholic. A 28-21 game. Here's Franklin running right. Danny Miller stacked them up, and then he got some help. And then another game was an 8-pointer to Holy Name, 28-20. Other than those 2 games, every other game has been double digits or more. Some really lopsided.
Yeah, incredible when you consider that Holy Name is a Division III squad that had a very fine 7-3 season. We talked about they did play a Division I Cleveland JFK. We local fans will remember defeated Buckeye Local in the opening week of the season, 20-15.
It's almost like Monroe playing Steubenville.
And in week number 2, the Firebirds put a whooping on JFK, 31-8, and JFK finished with a fine 8-2 record in Division I. So obviously the Firebirds haven't backed down from any challengers.
And the Noles are in the neutral zone. We've reached a 2-minute warning here in Canton. 2 minutes to play. Second quarter. And these Firebird fans have seen a lot of this so far in the playoffs for St. Pete. 34-14, 20-point win. 35-0 over Wellington, 35-point win. Beat North Lima South Range 28-7. So they pounded some people in the playoffs too. Here's a pass hanging up there. Gordon defending. Gordon. Did he break it up or did Perry make a great catch? Oh, what a catch! What a catch by Jason Perry. Wow, he out-jumped Gabe Gordon and made a great play.
We haven't called Jason Perry's name too many times, but he's a big-time receiver. In the victory over Wellington in the second round, Perry went 72 yards on a quick slant and also had a 29-yard touchdown reception. So this youngster, another one of the prime-time performers for the Firebirds.
Nope, he already caught a touchdown pass tonight. Actually, 2. Franklin threw him one, and then he caught another one from Moriarty. Here's Franklin bouncing outside, shifting hands, and Eric Brown runs him down from behind. Eric Brown showing some of his world-class speed.
We got a flag on the play, I think, Mike.
So when Eric Brown sees Mr. Franklin playing at Virginia the next couple of years, he can always say he ran him down from behind.
Face mask indication against the offense, Mike. I saw Eric Brown, number 20, indicating to the ref that the ball carrier had called his face, had pulled his face.
Stiff on him in the face mask.
So let's take a look here, Mike. It occurred right near the out of bounds mark, if I'm not mistaken, and we see it there.
There it is. Whew. Quick. Wow. And the Noles will take it, although they haven't marked it off yet. Here he comes.
You better do it. I'll give him somebody else.
So, of course, the indication was a 5-yard penalty, Mike. And, of course, this year on the high school level, there's 2 face mask penalties. I think it's been a real good rule change, Mike.
A minute 29 to play in the half. So, here come the Firebirds with Kyle Moriarty. Turns and hands to Franklin. Look at the burst of speed by Franklin. And Christopher Wilson hits him from behind. Josh Ishii was standing there ready to take on the blow, and Wilson pulled him down from behind. Hey, look at some of the beefers in there, Tommy.
Well, Mike, I think besides that, you're talking about Franklin, who's listed at 5'11", 185, and he's a rather solid-looking ball carrier when you consider that he's bigger than 10 out of the 11 defenders for the Seminoles. Gives you just a little bit idea of the size disadvantage in this contest here this evening.
Wow, a minute to play and a half. Franklin sweeping right, stopped Tyler Shoemaker, first man there, and then a host of Noles got there. Well, 35-0 would be just crushing to the Noles at half, although 28 maybe. We're trying. We're trying to find something.
Mike, I think Aaron Brown, the young sophomore, 5'5", 135-pounder, was in on that tackle.
Brown closed down quickly. Stone Ford scoreboard, 28-0. Bedford, St. Peter, Chanel, the Firebirds from Cuyahoga County. The former parish of Father Jim Lacrosse from St. Vincent de Paul in Elm Grove now. Father Jim, of course, an assistant coach at Wheeling Central now.
Well,
he used to be here.
There was a rumor that Father Jim might be in the crowd here this evening, Mike.
I tried to get a hold of him over Thanksgiving and couldn't find him. And I'm sure he is here. Coach Lacrosse going to be at the big Wheeling Central game tomorrow. He roams the sidelines.
Yes, he does.
Let's go look at the home side here at Lowell Kleinfelter Stadium. Legendary Lowell Kleinfelter.
Well, I understand Lowell is still the head coach and athletic director at Canton Central Catholic, and certainly a beautiful facility here on the campus of Central Catholic.
Central Catholic knocked out of the playoffs last week
by Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's. One of the assistant coaches there, Mike, Mark Murphy, former West Liberty State and Green Bay Packers star.
Here's Moriarty on 2nd and 7 looking for the end zone. Now pressured. Moriarty hit by Stevens. Bounces off. Shakes another tackle. Look at Moriarty. And finally, 3 Noles get him, although the clock didn't run out. 42 seconds to play. What a great play by Moriarty, and it's all going to come back from the hole.
Yeah, great job by Gabe Gordon and Eric Brown in pursuing Moriarty. Super run by the senior quarterback.
How many athletes can this team have? And they all feed off of Franklin, it seems like. This is going to come back. Hogan Boom coming out. Of course, St. Pete looking like the premier team in Division 5. Never won a state championship. Of course, runners-up last year. And if someone can beat this team, they may be at another level.
We'd like to see them, huh, Mike? We'll get another look at it here, and
so you can find the hold. It's probably right over here somewhere, right in this area, right there. Rowney and Gordon push him out with Ishii. So here we go, 2nd down and 25. Usually Franklin territory. Split backs. Now, look at this. Little middle screen. The Noles weren't buying it at first. Here's a great block. And look at Perry. Inside the 10. My goodness.
I'll tell you, the Noles defense did a good job of reacting to the screen.
Did you see how they spread the defense with 2 outlets on each side and then through the middle screen?
Yeah, we get a look at it here.
Watch the defense. They knew it was coming, and then they dropped back.
Seminoles did a great job of defensiveness, but when you have great athletes like Perry, they can make things happen. And
Christopher Wilson, first man to about nearly tackle him. And it almost looks as if the Noles are fighting for their lives here in the 4th quarter, trying to keep Chanel out of the end zone. It's 28-0 with 31 seconds to go. 2nd quarter. But we have some material for later on in the game. So timeout on the field. Ball will be at the 10-yard line. And you know what? That's Franklin territory. Doan Ford scoreboard, 28-0. St. Peter Chanel.
I think anywhere within the confines of the playing field is Franklin territory.
Anywhere in Canton is his territory. He may even run one to Fawcett while he's here tonight to get an early jump on next Friday. Well, as the teams talk to their respective coaches, we got to thank Doan Ford, who sponsors the scoreboard tonight, and all the other great sponsors that have been with us all season long. Of course, if any one of our teams does get to the state finals, if Monroe happens to pull off a great comeback, or Shadyside, we cannot do a tape delay broadcast on those games. It's handled by the entire state. But, of course, we have your Super 6 football next weekend at Wheeling Island Stadium. And now on 3rd and 4, Moriarty got a little screen to Franklin. And Franklin will just walk into the end zone for a touchdown. A flag on the play. A late flag way behind the play. And I think it's going to be on 56, Robert Knighton. And maybe the officials are having a little bit of compassion for the Noles.
Preliminary indication by the referee there is holding on the Firebirds.
Coach Powers doesn't like that. And it's still a 4-touchdown game. Let's watch Franklin, a little ISO action on him. Right. Well, I thought I was right there on Knighton. Holding on the Firebirds. Hey, 23 seconds. 3rd down and long now. And Moriarty, it could be nearing Franklin territory here at the 22-yard line. They split Jason Perry to the slot. T. Terry and Franklin in the eye. And Moriarty turns and fakes the handoff. Going to throw across the middle. Tipped. Nearly picked off. Did T.J. Stevens, 51, get a hand on that, or 85, Dan Miller? Hard to tell. You have a good look on that?
No, I didn't get a look, Mike Maywood.
This may help us out. Danny Miller, 85, right there. Yep, Miller.
It meant Danny, yeah. Danny Miller, the sophomore, number 85.
So it's 4th down now with 18 seconds, and here's a field goal attempt. And they've got some great kickers. Chris Penny, the senior, going to try it from 40 yards, 39 yards out.
His season long is 33 yards, Mike.
And this one's got plenty of distance, and no good. Pulled it left. So the Noles hold them. And it's 28-0. The vaunted Nole defense has forced 2 missed extra points and a missed field goal tonight so far in the first half. And it's still 28-0 in favor of St. Pete on the Doan Ford scoreboard. Coach Singleton and the Bear heading down to the locker room for halftime festivities. 18 seconds to play, and Joris will turn and hand it off to Gabe Gordon, running left. And Gordon surges forward for about 5 yards. So it'll be the last play of the first half. The first half full of highlights of St. Peter Chanel, the Firebirds, and their Division I Virginia recruit tailback Tony Franklin. He has scored 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, and thrown another. That's all. And on the Doane Ford Lincoln Mercury scoreboard, the state semis in Division 5. Dominated by the Bedford Firebirds, 28-0 over Monroe Central. Halftime festivities coming up. Hey, we're back in Canton, Ohio. This Division 5 state semifinal game between St. Peter Chanel and Monroe Central. Mike Anthony and Tom Bechtel, and that isn't us, but pretty good look at the 3 return men for St. Pete, trying to disguise who will get the football. They lead it 28-0 over Monroe Central. And T.J. Stevens will kick off for the first time tonight. We haven't seen much of the Firebirds return game. You can see it right here from the 25-yard line. Don King. Don King gets it out across the 30. So here come the Firebirds, led by All-State running back Tony Franklin, who the Noles held to 169 yards in the first half and 2 touchdowns.
Of course, he's coming off that outstanding performance in the regional finals, 322 yards, 3 touchdowns, and
they got him in the eye with T. Terry at fullback. Kyle Moriarty, the senior quarterback of this team, turns and hands off to Franklin. Franklin running left, cuts it back, and taken down to the backfield for a loss. Down to 168 yards rushing.
what's amazing, Mike, doing a little research for this game, last year in the state finals, the youngster actually ran for a total of -1 yards. And I know Amanda Clear Creek had an outstanding ball club, but it's just hard to believe that this youngster could be held in check by anyone.
Well, I think he had 14 positive yards with 12 negative, or 13.
Something like
that.
Yeah,
12 positive and 14 negative
exactly.
to make it a -1, or
yeah,
14 and 13, something like that.
Irregardless, he had virtually no yards rushing in the state championship.
Hard to believe. Here he is again, second straight carry. And look at this. Trying to get out of trouble with the Monroe Central defense, swarming to make the play. They're back. The swarming D of the Noles, led by Christopher Wilson.
Well, there wasn't any doubt that the Seminoles of Coach Sarkossa were going to come out and play real hard this evening, and despite the fact they trailed by 28 points, the defense is coming out here fired up and do a great job on this play of containing Mr. Franklin, and we see Yoho and Eric Brown and a few other Seminoles in on the action.
3rd down and 7. Opening drive, third quarter from Canton. In the eye. Fake it to Franklin. Moriarty going to roll left and fire. Ishii makes the interception with no flags. Coach Powers cannot believe there wasn't an interference call. It's picked off by Ishii, and here come the Noles. Well, Ishii broke on the ball. He definitely jumped the route, but he may have run over the receiver in the process. Take another look at it. Hard to see from the replay. Although, pretty easy to see the first time. 1st down and 10, Monroe Central. I am tough on the refs tonight.
Hogan Boom was the intended receiver on that play, by the way, Mike.
Noles' best field position of the night. At the Firebird 38-yard line, and Michael Joris, who completed 7 of 14 for 62 yards in the first half, hands it off to Gordon, and Gordon gets positive yardage. Of course, the Noles' leading rusher, Christopher Wilson, 2 carries in the first half for 0 yards.
Well, that's just a real big defensive front that the Firebirds are putting up there, Mike, and it's just going to be real tough to get any positive yardage against that
Robert
defense.
Knighton is a player, 56, at right defensive end. Look at him when he puts his hand down. This looks like a college player. Here's Joris throwing to Ishii. Ishii makes a move, and he's stuck by Perry. don't think you're going to get it from Mr. Perry too often.
It's going to set up a third down in a real short situation, though, Mike.
And the Noles driving on the Firebirds. This pass by Michael Joris, who will throw more times in this game than maybe all year. At least half the season. Got a great arm. He's a big, tall kid. Delivers the football. They hand it off to Gordon, who runs into a stone wall. And I don't mean the defunct high school in southern West Virginia. Third down and short, and probably didn't get the first down.
Well, I think next year Michael George is going to develop into a real fine passer on the high school level, Mike. But quite honestly, this season, Knowles did have much success on the ground, and with Chris Wilson racking up some big yardage throughout the season, there really wasn't a need to pass, unlike the game here this evening.
Going to bring in the chains. I think he got a good spot. Well, Monroe Central, you know, knowing all week they are the David in this David and Goliath battle tonight, and you know this St. Pete Chanel team disguised as a Division 5 team, and they get the first down. Well, 4 more downs to burn. I know some could look at it that way to take some time off. 8:53 to play third quarter. Dan Miller goes out. Robinson in. He gets there late. Goes to his tight end spot. Now Conrad goes off the field, and look, Coach Powers is yelling at the Noles for an illegal substitution. Well, they got the timeout instead. So with that break in the action, we'll take a timeout on the Doane Ford scoreboard. St. Peter Chanel 28, Monroe Central 0. You're watching exclusive coverage of this Division 5 semifinal on WDTRF Sports. Welcome back to our rocking Kleinfelder Stadium here in Canton, Ohio. The Noles on 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Michael Joris looking into the flat. Robinson is there, but the pass is batted down by Michael Collins, the 6'2 senior. Not a good throw by Joris that time.
We've talked all evening long about that secondary of the Firebirds, and you know when you have Michael Collins, number 6, and I think Doug Alford, number 5's in there, but just great team speed, and we'll see here. Just they do a great job of closing on the football. Joris has a strong arm, delivers that ball, but that never had a chance to get to Miller. Collins knocked that one down.
Adam Conrad back in. And Joris in the shotgun on 2nd down and 10. Joris in trouble. And he'll be sacked at the 35-yard line. And look at my man dancing.
Yeah, that's big number 55, Mark Zoranic. He's another one of the returning All-Staters.
I thought that was Knighton, 56. Maybe 56, Bear. Watch.
Was it Knighton? Okay.
Here's the replay.
I didn't get a good look there, Mike, but no, it's 55.
Okay,
Mike.
yeah, but he wasn't the one dancing.
56 was the dancer. 55 made the play, Mike.
I understand. Under 8 to play now, third quarter. Joris pumping, looking for the end zone. Incomplete. Alford making the knockdown.
Alford, a sophomore in the secondary for the Firebirds.
One of the few underclassmen we've seen. Heard it again. And the Noles taking a shot at the end zone.
Although, shot at the end zone, but nearly going up with a shot at an interception,
Yeah.
Mike.
Well, 4th and 15. On this, the Noles' best scoring opportunity of the night. Joris in the gun, going to quick kick it. Nope, going to throw it up. hoping it gets picked off. And it is picked off. But Perry's going to do something with it. Look at Perry. Christopher Wilson makes a big stick. I think George threw it up there for a punt. And Perry said, I'm not knocking that down.
Well, it essentially came out to a wash there. I thought that Perry should have knocked it down, and but he actually returned it just about back to the line of scrimmage, and we get a look at it here. Joris low down. I think this might have been their actual fake punt play, Mike. I think they were looking for an interference call there on it, like a punt. You know what I'm talking about? Or is that why Joris knelt down, or didn't kneel down, but squatted down and threw that ball up like a punt, but Mr. Perry was there, Johnny, on the spot for the interception.
Now here is Franklin again. A flag is down. Franklin running into Brownie and a host of Knowles. Probably a backside holding penalty on the Firebirds.
It is. About the third or fourth hold has been called on the Firebirds this evening.
You know, Coach Bowers doesn't like the fact that it's on the other side of the play. The play is designed to go right, and the hold is coming from the other side of the line. I guess they've seen cease pursuit the last couple of weeks, and they're making sure he is not going to get a tackle. Back to after the 23. First down and 20. Franklin. Dan Miller misses. Franklin through a hole. Franklin. And Cease gives him a shot. Short of the first down, but Cease is talking a little trash.
Once again, though, Mike, they just, when you have so many weapons, we see it here, just straight ahead line blocking, and you know, when you have a fellow like Franklin, all you need to do is put that pigskin in his hand, and you know, what was a first and long situation all of a sudden becomes a 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 5.
Of course, we told you earlier, but his father just passed away at a young age, 47 years old, a couple of days ago. And here he is again, Franklin with a heavy heart, and he'll have the first down.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Franklin Glenn had a
okay. Thank you.
actually had a stroke last Monday, and he dedicated the regional final game where he had his outstanding school record-breaking 322-yard performance against North Lima South Range.
He's well on his way to break that tonight, if he's in there long enough. He's well over 200 yards now. So right around there. He's 169 at the half, and the Knowles are in the neutral zone. Seifert jumped. You don't see that very often from Monroe Central. Jay's not going to like that. Well,
a fellow like Franklin really creates a lot of disadvantages for that defense, Mike. You know, it's obvious you're going to overreact and you're going to be a little jumpy because this youngster is just an outstanding football player.
I mean, every time he touches the ball, everyone has his eyes on him in the crowd watching to see what he'll do next. First down ball right at midfield. Little counter tray. And look at Franklin go. Burst into the open field. Nice tackle from behind by Gordon. Gordon made a touchdown-saving tackle. But it's a huge run. 28 yards. And that puts him over 200 now for the game.
And Mike, you pulled the two big fellas. We see it there, Robert Knighton, 56, and Pat Walker, or Alan Delady, number 66. And, you know, those are two big fellas, 280 and 245 pounds respectively. But
Knighton's one of the All-Staters, right?
They actually pulled out and led the blocking. No, I believe Knighton's not one of the All-Staters, Mike, but, you know, you could have just about picked anyone on that team with 5 returning All-Staters.
I bet you he makes it this year. Moriarty turns, fakes, now hands it off, and look at who's running with the football now. Artrice Walton.
Who may be the heir apparent to Mr. Franklin. Walton is a 5'8", 155-pound junior for the Firebirds.
Artrice.
Artis showing a little ability there to run the football, Mike.
Pretty hard runner. Firebirds knock on the door again. The Noles kept them out just before the half. Here's Franklin. Touchdown, Tony Franklin, his third of the night. Ten-yard touchdown run by Franklin.
Well, like most of the great running backs you're going to see, Mike, and we get a look at here again, Franklin just makes it look so easy, but when you open up holes that you can drive Mack trucks through, pretty obvious.
Even Mate One couldn't stop that.
I'll tell you, Mate One had some big boys. They might have had a shot at him.
Here's the point after attempt. That's up and good. So, it's 35-0, St. Pete. On the Doane Ford Lincoln Mercury scoreboard, I ain't buying until I check Doane Ford, but Monroe Central is going to see their dream season come to an end here. A screeching halt in a Doane Ford.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate, Mike, because, as we know, Woodsfield and Monroe Central have just had some outstanding football teams. Coach Sarkost in his 31 seasons has had only 6 losing seasons during his career, and of course last year was one of those, his all-time worst record of 2-8. But
watch his hole.
Yeah, it's just very simple to run the football when you have 3 and 4 blockers out ahead of you, especially the size of some of these Chanel behemoths.
I understand the teams left in Division 5 are pretty good, but I'm going to put my money on this team next week at Fawcett.
Yeah, I would say they were probably going to be the favorites.
I'll take them in Division 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2.
Yeah, I think they might have
Division 1. We could be.
Yeah, I think
a little bit of a game.
I think they'd be challenged in Division 1, but right on down the list, they could certainly hold their own.
Here we go again. It's Ishii from the 15. Christopher Wilson from the 15. Jay switching it up a little bit, trying to get their ball carrier the ball. And Wilson, a little disgusted, throws the ball away. Look at some of these big guys. And then look at Wilson. What a great year, though, for Christopher Wilson. 13 and some change. Big 6 touchdown game against Frontier. Scored the only 2 against Bellsville. Scored touchdown in the only touchdown in the first game. Scored the only touchdown last week against the Smithies. He's been the workhorse, and there he is again. This is only his 3rd carry of the night. He didn't have any yards and still doesn't.
Well, certainly one of the question marks coming into the season for the Seminoles was the offensive line. It's just a matter of who's going to actually be playing on the offensive line. There's been some changes in positions, and this offensive line has just been strong all season long. But obviously tonight, when you line up at that line of scrimmage and you look up and the guy facing you weighs 100 pounds more than you, that's a challenge to just most.
I like Knighton right there, 56 at right end. So like Courtney Brown when he gets down, doesn't he? Here's Joris. Oh boy, in trouble. And Joris going to be sacked. At Knighton? Nope. Not Knighton. It's the big number 66.
The lady.
6'2", 280.
What's incredible, Mike, I know sometimes on the Division 5 level we see 280, 290-pound linemen on occasion, but Bedford Chanel certainly seems to have a plethora of such linemen, and they're quality athletes. They can run the field, and just that just makes a real dangerous combination when you're 280, 290, and you have the ability to move, and it's just something that's real
scary.
It's real scary.
Long draw play to Wilson. Wilson busted up the middle across the 35. Wilson breaks the tackle, and Christopher Wilson gets pushed forward for a first down. Considering the center, John Michael Spielman, is 155 pounds, and so is the tailback, Wilson.
Well, there was a nice little 17-yard run by Christopher Wilson, and this is the type run that Seminole fans have been accustomed to all season long. Does a great job of breaking three, four tackles, and we see the pursuit there by number 34, Evan Shaw, big 6'3", 245-pound defensive end.
How about he and Knighton at the ends? And look at that five-man front. Knowles throwing, good pressure, good protection. Wilson, the intended receiver, ball thrown out of bounds. Actually, towards the out of bounds stripe. Second down and 10. Well, the other semi is Marion Stein local, right?
No. Maria Stein, Marion local is my Division 6
that's,
squad
I'm
there,
sorry,
Mike.
that's Jimmy Stein's sister. Marion Pleasant, Sydney Catholic, right? Sydney Lehman.
Yeah, Marion Pleasant and Sydney Lehman Catholic are...
Oh boy, Joris sacked again. They're pinning her ears back now. Pat Walker, only 6'5", 275.
And the list goes on and on, Mike.
I mean, this is a big college football team. Look at that front five. Look at the big guy. Get that right paw on him.
Mike, I had a chance a couple weeks ago to see Cleveland St. Ignatius, of course, who is tonight is playing for the right to go to the Division I state championship.
Another one.
And honestly, they weren't as big as this squad. They were not.
Tell you what, I don't know if West Liberty's bigger than this club. Certainly up front they aren't. Well, that pass is thrown incomplete, and that was on...
And speaking of big fellas, John Foster there, 6'2", 300 pounds.
He's only a junior, right?
Yeah, he'll be a little bigger by the time. 6'3", 300, excuse me, Mike.
And that's after Thanksgiving dinner. Gordon will punt. Gordon's done a nice job punting the last few weeks. He hits a low end-over-end ball, and this one's a nice spiral, a boomer. Right on cue to the Coffin corner. He has really buried teams with this punting the last 5 weeks. An unsung hero on the special teams is Gabe Gordon.
Yeah, Mike, that punt went for about 56 yards, and just a great effort by Gordon. And as you said, his kicking has been one of the keys throughout the season for the Seminoles and permitting them to have great field position.
On a negative note, here comes Franklin and the boys from inside their own 10. And a big one here could really pad their running numbers. At the 9-yard line. Well, they have some 91-yard plays in that playbook, I know that.
Yeah, unfortunately, the last 2 weeks they've scored in the second quarter, though, Mike, from 91 yards away.
It's the third quarter now, baby. First down and 10 on their own 9. Here they go with Franklin. That's not Franklin. That's Artise Walton, and he stopped in the backfield. Franklin done for the night. He's standing here on the sidelines, helmet off. Moriarty's out there, too.
Mike, it looks like they're starting to get some fresh jerseys in the lineup there. I see number 11, Joe Belansky. He's a sub coming in. A few of the other numbers are fresh jerseys.
Some smaller linemen in there.
Yeah, number 57, 240-pound sophomore checked into the lineup. So, yeah, they do have some smaller linemen.
Belansky turns and hands off to the fullback. And that's Ed Pritchard, 195-pound junior. There's Moriarty, Franklin. Boy, Franklin has to deal with the loss of his father this week. He comes out and puts on another ho-hum performance. Playing inspired.
I think, quite honestly, Bedford Chanel approached this season. They're now, it appears, obviously, they're going to be 14-0 headed in to that championship game next week. But I think their goal from day one has been a state championship. And
look at this pass. Knocked down by Brown.
yeah, Eric Brown, number 20 there, did a great job of covering that pass play, and it hung up just a little bit, and E. Brown knocks it down.
Well, we appreciate you fans staying up with us at this late hour. 54 seconds to play, third quarter. Noles trailing. If you don't know the score, I'm not going to tell you because I want you to keep it on. As the Noles get prepared to field a punt. Brownie and Ishii standing at their own 45.
Mike, I believe this may be the first punt of the evening for the Firebirds.
Pretty good one, too, as Ishii will have to come up and get it on a bounce and let it go. At the 48-yard line. Noles starting in Firebird territory for the first time. C.L. Straw makes a nice play over there.
C.L. Straw fielded that punt, Mike.
Did he have fair catch? Clearly, hand in the air.
Definitely a good signal.
C.L.'s been traveling to see his Noles a lot the last couple of weeks. We'll see. Watch C.L. over here. Here he comes. Nice play.
Of course, for the fans back at home, C.L. does have his Union Liquid Jets jacket on.
I understand. Folks at Jetland are getting pretty happy about their basketball teams here coming up. And the Doan Ford scoreboard, 35-0 St. Peter Chanel, leading Monroe Central here late third quarter. Little toss sweep to Christopher Wilson, and Wilson breaks the tackle with Perry, and then he's gang tackled out of bounds at the 41. Let's see Wilson get in the end zone here tonight.
Just a simple pitch play here, and Wilson does a nice job of heading north and south, and met by a host of Firebird tacklers.
The Noles have definitely gotten a lot of their seniors, Seifert, Brown, and Cease, for sure. And that is it, folks. So beware of the Noles next year. Hand it off. That's Gordon. Of course, this is our 7th broadcast of the Noles. All done by me, and I earned my varsity letter this year.
Well, Mike, you certainly should have that varsity M. It's really unfortunate because the Noles have just had a great season, and obviously you're going to end it on a sour note here this evening. And as you talked, it would take a miraculous comeback for them at this stage of the game. But they've just had a great year, and Coach Sarkos, we talked prior to the game, and he's had so many great teams throughout the years that just have never been presented with this opportunity, and it's unfortunate that they run into a buzzsaw here this evening.
On the Doan Ford scoreboard, 35-0 through 3 in this Division 5 semifinal. St. Peter Chanel leads Monroe Central. Fourth quarter coming up. Fourth quarter starts with a penalty flag. Interesting little sideline from the Peter Chanel cheerleaders. And the flag will be on the Noles on 3rd and 1. We're right out of the timeout of the break. Come out of a procedure penalty.
Yeah, that hurts. They had a 3rd down and 1 situation, and you'll make a little tougher play call here, Mike.
Well, I've seen the Noles enough. I've seen some screens bail them out. So we'll see if they can do that again with a hard-charging Chanel defense. Trips receivers. Keep an eye on Wilson. He's the inside slot man. There he is. Thrown a little too high and through his hands. Incomplete. T. Terry defending on the play. There's number 5, Doug Alford in the game.
We'll get another look at it here, Mike. And ball was pretty well thrown, but great coverage by the Firebirds, and going to set up a 4th down situation here.
Well, the Noles did have the ball, I think, inside the 30 once tonight. See if they can keep the drive going, although they're punting now with Gordon. Gonna punt him down in. Another punt by Gordon, this time not fielded by C.L. Straw. And it's Chanel football with 11:49 to play in the game. 35-0 St. Peter. And they're going to continue their fabulous run. Doan Ford scoreboard. All one-sided tonight. Bill Powers, the 33-year-old rookie coach, inherited a pretty nice club. Cleveland State University product. And the give is to the tailback. Taken down by Seifert was in there again. Sam Miller, 88. And T.J. Stevens. Good look at that defense, Tom. Cease, great year. Nate Schauber, 55. Seifert, 70. Two Millers there.
Yeah, unfortunately tonight we haven't had a lot of opportunity to call these youngsters names, but they've just done a great job, especially in the playoffs, in this outstanding playoff run where when you hold three opponents to only 3 points and ball's loose on the turf, but it appears that it was down.
Walton, the ball carrier.
It looks like the Firebirds might have a pretty nice running back waiting in their stable here. This Walton, only a junior.
And there's Knighton leading away, 56. Got a nice block on Brownie.
They don't lose a whole lot when they bring this youngster into the game.
73, the big horse is still in there. And Jamel Lee, 6'3", 295.
Yeah, offensively, they still have a lot of the starters in, but they have
Up front at least.
given Mr. Franklin his rest.
Foster is out, the 6'3", 300-pounder. 72 on the bench in front of us. Getting a break with Evan Shaw, 6'2", 245. Big, big, big.
Big and bigger.
And then you have the speed of Franklin. Here's a draw play. Ball carrier, Walton. And this will be a long fourth quarter. As Chanel shows why they have rolled to an undefeated season, and I don't see anyone beating them in the finals. Although, you never know.
That's why they tee it up, Mike, but yeah.
There's Cease again.
Really got the feel for Coach Sarcosta and his outstanding staff. You know, Mike, they certainly have one of the finest coaching staffs in the Ohio Valley, if not the finest, and I think these guys just had to, be having nightmares looking at the films all week long of this strong squad, and
Oh, Cease gets to the quarterback, and he ran right through the big man, Jamel Lee. What a highlight, if there is one this late. And Cease is hurt again, of course. But watch, if we have a replay, he runs right through. A boy is outweighing him over 100 pounds. Watch this play by Cease.
Yeah, this is just great effort by Aaron, and we'll see it here. He knocks it down the blocker and does a great job pursuing the football. And, Aaron Cease, for the last couple years, has just done that night in and night out for the Seminoles, and great effort here late in this contest.
Firebirds' second punt of the game. Fair catch on the return ball by Ishii. He says, I'm going to take our chances right here at the 36-yard line. See if the Noles can't punch one in here. Depending who's coming out. A lot of big bodies in there still. Now it's almost a Division III or IV team.
A lot of big bodies on that sideline, Mike, so, if they do bring some subs in, they're not going to give away too much in terms of poundage.
So here comes Michael Joris, this junior quarterback with tons and tons of experience heading into next year. Going to turn and pitch it to Wilson. Little razzle-dazzle. Reverse to Ishii. Miller out there, but look at the pursuit. Good defense by Doug Alford, the sophomore defensive back. You got the beat and you have the speed in the back.
We'll get a look at it here, Mike. Little reverse action issue. The little fella tries to take it upfield, but the Firebirds, once again, great pursuit.
Walker, the 6'5", 275-pounder, number 68, threw him down with one hand at the end there.
Josh gives up a few pounds to Mr. Walker.
Here's a pump and go. Joris looking for the end zone. Ishii. Little contact incomplete. Well, the Noles have taken some chances. And I fought him for it. Love to see one of those DBs fall down and get a touchdown.
Well, they certainly haven't lacked for effort here tonight, Mike.
Perry's still in the game, number 1.
Been a little bit outmanned. It's pretty obvious. That's probably an understatement, but in terms of effort, you knew Monroe was going to come out and just give it 100% all night long.
And Jay knew that Sunday, the first tape he popped in when he got back from the meeting, and I was there. His eyes just got big, and while his eyes got big, so did the players on the film. Here's Wilson, draw play. Wilson on 3rd and 11. He's short of the first down by a few, so 4th and short for the Noles.
I just don't think any film that you watch, Mike, can really just show an appreciation for the team speed that a team like Chanel has, and pretty
Nice
obvious.
job up front this time. Wilson taking on some blockers. Great tackle. Ryan Preston, 205-pound junior. Great form tackle. Used the right shoulder and drove Wilson into the ground. So 4th and 2. Michael Joris under center. Dive play. Gordon stacked up. Give him a good spot. Get out of the way. Robinson stood in the official's way as he was running towards the play. 7:34, clock still running. Now the official blows it dead for a measurement. Lytle still in there at 280 pounds, number 66. Knighton, 56, coming back in. The big dog's out still. Oh, did not get the first down. And there's a good look at our man, Bear. Tony Franklin.
There's 3 of the mainstays. The quarterback, Cal Moriarty, number 2. Number 20, Cal Hoganboom.
How big Hoganboom looks right there.
Outside linebacker and slot back. And, of course, number 22, the man of the hour, Tony Franklin.
Maybe seeing that guy on Sundays down the road someday. Definitely on Saturdays for the University of Virginia. Head coach Al Grove, the former New York Jets coach. Firebirds take over. Cease making another tackle. Cease banged up again, of course. Banged up in the Lindsley game. That was a hard-hitting game with Lindsley earlier in the year for Monroe Central. She broke a finger. Took a while to heal. Play with it taped up. These Firebirds are big. Under 7 minutes to play now. New tailback in the game. He has given a shot by Wilson. Golembeski, the ball carrier. We don't even have a 38, do we?
Yeah.
Doug Costain, the ball carrier. Start naming people. So they're going to bring the change in for a measurement with 6 minutes to go, and it's 35-0. No, they're not. Wise choice, fellas. 3rd down and 1. And Wilson stacks the play up, but it's going to be a first down for the Firebirds. No matter who they bring in there. Still get the first down. Look at some of those big bodies still in there. Knighton, 56.
And Mike, they've been making liberal substitution at the skilled positions, but I think their first offensive line is still pretty much intact. The center, Zoranic is still in there, along with
big guy,
Robert Knight and the big fella, and
Deladle.
So they still have most of their interior linemen still in the contest.
Here's a little fullback trap. Big hitter from 45, Eddie Pritchard. Well, I like Pritchard.
Of course, he's
coming back.
Only a junior, 5'11", 195.
And they'll have him and Artis Walton next year. Firebird uniform's not very flashy, but boy, the way they play football, hard to knock them, buddy. A lot of players. And there's an injured player down for Monroe Central. Jay is out. Gordon. What a great year he's had. This sophomore right here, maybe the best sophomore in the Valley. There's Jay Circosta walking off. Jay's getting it handed to him tonight, but he knew coming in it was going to be a tough task, but you don't win as many games as he has.
Well, when they think
without winning a few like this.
Thinking back of all the great players, we jokingly said to Luke Shoemaker before the game that they ought to suit him up. I'm not sure what would have made a difference here this evening, but
Walton and Schauber makes a play from behind, and the pursuit gets there, and a flag. Oh, maybe it wasn't a flag. Looked like a flag was thrown by the official. Yep. 5 minutes to play in the game. Don't forget Super 6 weekend in Wheeling, West Virginia coming up. Will it be the Wheeling Central Maroon Knights? And Class Single A trying to defend their state championship. We'll have them at this time tomorrow night right here exclusively on WTRF, your Super 6 TV station. Nice play by Nate Schauber again. That's Shoemaker. Shoemaker making a nice play for Monroe Central. Of course, he's the son of the principal, Sam Shoemaker. The cousins of the legendary Shoemaker brothers.
Of course, you go back, we talked about Luke and, of course, Greg. They're both on the staff here at Monroe Central. And, of course, back in the mid-'80s, I think one named Andy played along with Steve in the early '90s. So that name has certainly been a tradition at Monroe Central for many years. But, Mike, we talked about there's so many great players at Monroe. It's so many great undefeated teams that never had the opportunity with these kids. So, I'm sure they're going to go back a little disappointed at the outcome this evening. But it's something.
Seifert makes a play, and so does Shoemaker.
It's something they can take with them the rest of their lives. They reached the pinnacle that no other Monroe Central team or Woodsfield Redskin team ever approached. So these kids, it's going to be a little tough here, but they need to take a little look back and reflect on just what an outstanding season and what they did accomplish.
And especially the coaching staff, who almost all have played for the Redskins at one point, some even in the Knolls.
Yeah, Matt Singleton played, I believe, back in the early '90s. Of course, Pat Singleton, he's one of the old-timers, played back in the '70s for Coach Circosta, and, those two guys are on staff along with the Shoemakers, so certainly a great Woodsfield connection on the coaching staff.
Ishii Bluffs, the fair catch.
Of course, your main man, Bear Briggs? He actually preceded Jay Circosta. It's hard to believe, but he was on the staff of Bob Butts way back when. So, a lot of these guys, they've done a great job with this team, and, they're going to go home with a little sour taste in their mouth this evening, but nonetheless, outstanding job, especially when you consider, Mike, they were a team coming off a 2-8 season and a lot of question marks headed into this campaign. They put quite a whipping on a Shadyside team that, as we speak, is still alive in the hot playoffs. So, just a great campaign. But
and to hold Chanel to only one touchdown in the second half would be quite remarkable. On the Doan Ford scoreboard, it's St. Peter Chanel 35 and Monroe Central nothing. Half moon here in Canton, Ohio. Doan Ford scoreboard 35-0. Monroe Central going to lose this state semifinal, but they've gotten farther than any other team in Monroe Central Woodsfield history. Run a draw play. Christopher Wilson up the middle. Christopher Wilson. Tackled just by about every Firebird out there. 3 minutes to play in the game. Great season by the Noles will come to an end here against a much superior team. A team that's only played one Division V opponent all year in the regular season. And they played the 3 Division V playoff games with them because they had to.
Yeah.
Second down, 3. Running forward with the football. Cease. So Cease getting some carries at fullback.
A couple of sophomores involved in that play, Mike, for the Firebirds. 240 pounds, 180 pounds. So it's obvious their cover's not going to be bare after this season.
No.
We get a look at the big guy there, number 77, Derek Dubois. He's 5'11", 277, only a junior. So
Noel trying to push them out of there. 3rd and 1. Brown in motion, quick toss. Wilson has the first down, and that can probably run the clock out. Well, congratulations to the Monroe Central Seminoles. You guys have played great. After a 2-8 season, to come back and do this. But not many gave them a chance against Magnolia in week 1.
yeah, obviously they, coming in, like I say, off a 2-8 campaign, defeated 2 playoff teams. 2 teams are in their respective state semifinals with a shot to go to the finals. So they opened the season in outstanding fashion, and a couple bumps in the road with Barnesville and Shenandoah, but just an outstanding year. And who would have thunk it back in August that they'd be up here in Canton playing for the right to go to the state finals.
Give it up for the Noles. They've done a great job this season, no doubt. There are only 24 teams in Ohio still playing football as the first team leaves.
A lot of the younger Noles going to get a chance to get a little bit of tournament action here, and great move by Coach Sarkosson.
These guys get to play on the turf in Canton in the semifinal.
Mike,
and the Gatorade bucket is coming.
Mike, I know you know most of these Seminoles, but some fresh jerseys out there.
And here goes the bucket for the coach. Coach Power's going to get wet. Got him.
Michael, we get a chance. Let's mention for once in a lifetime. John Newart's in there. Casey Ruckman. Travis Williams, number 61. 53, Jason Dick. Let's go right on down the list here, Mike, if you can help me out. 42, Justin Copley just checked in.
Robinson, Kenny Robinson's still in there. There it is. Ooh. Got him. Well, 14-0. Not a bad way to start your head coaching career. And the handoff is to number 25, Ryan Ferguson.
Of course, 30, Aaron Brown. Number 76, Curtis Merrick. And most of the younger Noles have got a chance just to play in this state semifinal.
Good job, Coach. Coach Briggs, Singleton, leaving the press box. Pretty proud of their Noles despite this game, and they'll probably get one more snap off. Sean Joris, Mike's younger brother, in at quarterback, and that's the way this one will end. After 28-0 at the half, St. Peter Chanel only scores 1 touchdown in the second half to win it 35-0.
Mike, a couple other big fellas in there. Chad Burkhart, number 79, and 75, Trevor Hendershot, a big sophomore, got a little bit of action there at the end, and I think Coach did clear the bench, and almost all the Noles did see a little bit of action there late in the contest.
On the Doan Ford Lincoln Mercury scoreboard, the Bedford St. Peter Chanel Firebirds 35, the Monroe Central Seminoles nothing. Some final thoughts when we come back to Canton right after this. You're watching exclusive coverage of Ohio high school playoff football on WTRF 7. And welcome back to Canton, Ohio, where it was certainly a Hall of Fame-like performance
by St. Peter Chanel. They go on to defeat Monroe Central by the final of 35-0. Mike Anthony and Tom Bechtel. And Barry, we just saw a much better football team perform, looks like they've done for the last 13 weeks in a row.
Yeah, hats off to Monroe. They hung in there after being down 28-0 at halftime. It could have been much worse, but, there's a lot of fight in those Seminoles, and they ran into an outstanding Division II or Division III football team tonight, and unfortunately they're masquerading as a Division V squad.
Yeah, Tony Franklin, everything is advertised. The All-State running back headed for Virginia on a scholarship, just performed outstanding, 252 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's just an outstanding performer, but, they have a lot of other weapons. That quarterback, Cal Moriarty, he's outstanding. Perry, the wide receiver, and Hogan Boone, the defensive player. The list just goes on and on. Any team that returns 5 All-Staters from last season with a state runner-up squad is obviously an outstanding team, and, the Seminoles unfortunately had to run into them tonight.
Playing after Thanksgiving was almost unheard of after last year's 2-8 season for Monroe Central. And with only 3 seniors coming back, hats off to Jason Costa and the staff getting his team to this point.
Yeah, unfortunately tonight it's going to be a little salt in the wounds, but, as you look back, they had a great season, and, these kids 20, 30 years from now will reflect on what an outstanding effort it was just to get here to Canton this evening, but unfortunately they just ran into a buzzsaw, and what more can we say?
Yeah, Aaron Cease, Eric Brown, and Randall Seifert, the 3 seniors, have done something that a lot of folks in Woodsfield and in Monroe Central through the years haven't ever done. So.
Yeah, a lot of great football players never had this opportunity, so hats off to those 3. On the other hand, the remaining members of the squad, it's a great challenge for next season. They need to set their goal to come back to the state semifinals again next year, and hopefully with a little bit of luck it could happen again.
Have a well-oiled veteran at quarterback back in Michael Joris, a 1,300 and some change yard rusher in Christopher Wilson, and a smothering defense and offensive line that have played every game this year, 14-0.
Yeah, and let's don't fail to mention just an outstanding coaching staff that year in, year out has done a great job. They're one of the most respected staffs in the Ohio Valley, and, Jay Sircost and his fellas just do a great job year in, year out. And like I said, unfortunately, that 35-0 scoreboard staring you right in the face, but just a great season and a great career for Jay Sircost, and I'm sure more is yet to come.
St. Pete Chanel back in the state final for the 2nd straight year. They lost last year and have a pretty good chance to win it again this year, no doubt.
Yeah, they said they haven't mentioned that word about a state championship just yet, but I got a hunch next Friday evening about this time they're going to be hoisting that trophy up in the air, and they'll be celebrating their first state championship.
Well, for us, it's Super 6 football on Wheeling Island. The Class Single, Double, and AAA championships exclusively right here on WTRF. This game is over. The Noles lose at 35-0. We will see you tomorrow with Wheeling Central taking on Williamson at Wheeling Island Stadium, and then the Big 3 as we wrap up football season in the Ohio Valley for one more season. Pretty hard to believe.
Yeah, I'm all excited. I'll tell you, anytime the Super 6 comes around, this is the 8th straight year we've had it. So certainly looking forward to next weekend. And hey, how about Shadyside? They're still alive, and they've got a shot, Mike.
Thanks to the folks from New Vision Video, Vernon, our director, and all the folks who put this broadcast on tonight. For Tom Bechtel, Mike Anthony saying so long from Canton, Ohio, where the final score once again, it's St. Peter Chanel 35 and Monroe Central 0. Thanks for watching this exclusive presentation of WTRF Sports. Good night, everybody from Canton.